Hey, welcome back to lesson 6, and the topic today is Venn diagrams. So Venn diagrams. I want you to be able to interpret, sketch, and use Venn diagrams in real-world situations. So this will be the one that kind of freaks a couple people out. The artists will really enjoy, and we'll see how this goes. So what do Venn diagrams look like when there's an intersection? So I'm going to keep it simple to start. So if there's an intersection in a Venn diagram, I'm going to look at, and keep it simple for the first one, I'm just looking at two sets. If they intersect or overlap, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for where the two sets overlap. So I'm looking for where the two circles would overlap, just like that. What happens if there is a union? So, again, two circles. If there's a union, that means that I took set A and I added set B. So you'd be coloring inside both circles. Now what happens if there's a complement? A complement of these two sets. Complement would exist outside. All right. So there we are. So it'd be everything but. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just translate this now, okay, into a couple of simple terminology. So what's it going to look like? Basically, for each of these diagrams, we are going to create a box, because inside my box is the universal set. It has everything in it. I just like to put N's on my S's because it looks cool. Here we go. Two sets, A and B. Now, through the miracle of technology, I will clone that and upset you greatly because of the fact I can clone it. There's my second one, and there's my third one. All right. Oops, better keep it on the page so at least you can see it. All right, so A, and then this is where you have to use your terminology to be able to identify. This is intersection. Intersection. So if it's intersection, we're looking where two sets overlap. So the answer for this one would be right there. All right. Here we have intersection again. Intersection. And we have complement. So how do we handle this? This is my suggested strategy. I would outline what's inside the brackets, okay? So A intersecting B, we already talked about this. So this is where A and B would intersect. And normally I would color. I'm not going to color it in. Just put these little dashes in. I'm going to color inside the blue here. What complement means is not. It means A intersects B, not. So, I mean, most of you, that's street talk, right? You guys know what that means. I was just kidding with you. It's been a long day. So basically, if I'm going to color in the blue, I'm not going to color in the blue, which would mean that I would color everything except for what I would have colored, which would be everything in the box. So color, 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 color. You can see where people waste time. People that have trouble with the course, they just prefer just to color and not worry about the concept just because they got the color. It's like grade 1 in kindergarten all over again for you. All right. So there we go. So that would be how you handle complement. Identify what you would have colored, and then don't color that. Okay. Finally, A union B. That means you're adding the sets together. So that is math speak for color in both circles. All right. So here we go. Whee! I know it's fun, right? You're thinking, Mike, it's just like kindergarten all over again. All right. So there we go. Let's move on to greener pastures here, so to speak. And now all of a sudden you start to freak out and go, what is this? All right, so shade in the indicated region. So what you need to do is you need to go step by step. Don't panic, that's the big thing. Have a paper bag handy so you can breathe into it. We're going to go through this together, one step at a time. So first thing we do is brackets. We follow bed mass. So bed mass, again, is brackets first. So A intersecting B. First of all, we should label the circles because that would make the question that much easier. I don't know who didn't draw that in. Probably someone wasn't paying attention. All right, A, B, and C. Okay, so as I was saying, first thing we do, start inside the brackets, A intersecting B. So this is what I would color in first, but I'm not going to color it in because I'm not done yet. I would color in inside the blue. That's what the brackets are telling me to do. Okay, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not done the question. I'm going to move on to green now. I'm going to take my answer from the brackets, which is my blue in the picture, and I'm going to find where it intersects with C. So my blue overlaps with C in this area here. And I can color this in because it's final answer. So that is where A and B and C would intersect, is right there. So you go through and you do it one step at a time. All right. Next, let's move on to the second one, or B part. Again, we're going to use our brackets. We're going to do that first. So in blue, I'm going to do A union B. So I'm going to outline the circles A and B, because if it was just A union B, I'm just going to put the little dashes to help remind me what I would have colored in. I would have colored in A and B. Now I'm going to take my answer, A plus B, and I'm going to find where it intersects with C. So if I was to color in A and B, where would it intersect with C? And I would find that this region right here would be blue, and it would overlap with my green. So this would be my answer right here. So I'm looking for that overlap, just like that. And there's the answer to B. Of course they get easier. That's what people are thinking, oh yeah, it's going to get worse. But no way, it gets easier. Okay, complement in there. So let's do A union B. Do the brackets first. A union B. So I'm going to outline my A plus B circle. A union B. Okay. Now it's a complement. Okay. It's a complement, so it's a not, right? So I would color in A plus B, not. So that would mean I'm actually going to color outside of A and B. See how it's just street talk? It's easy speak. Okay, so A union B inside the brackets. So I'd color A and B, not. So I'm going to color outside A and B. Now, where does that answer intersect with C? Okay, so my answer, all the region outside of A and B would be colored in, but I only want to color in the region that overlaps or intersects with C. So now it would be this region here, because it would be blue, and outside of C would be right there. So now we color it in, and that is my answer. Okay. All right. I can see everyone nodding their head, saying, "This is easy. Keep going." Excuse me. So next one. A complement intersects with B complement. Well, let's take a look at what that would be. So I'm going to use two different colors here. A is going to be in blue. All right. So A complements outside. So it's like drawing a sun, except in blue. B complement's going to be in green. So B. The do's help. Okay. Now, if I was to find where they intersect these colors, what I would find is that because A is going to be colored outside its circle and B is going to be colored outside its circle, what we find is the intersection would be everywhere except for the eyelet. Okay, this area here, the red, would not be colored. Okay, because everything outside would overlap with blue and green. Oh, wait a minute, let me think about that. No, I'm in error. This is what happens when you do things on the smart board, everything looking bigger. Okay, let me try that again. Because everything outside of A will be colored in blue, the only place that everything outside of green would be outside of the two circles. Okay? So, the answer to my first bracket is going to be outside the those two. All right. Next, I take my answer, and I'm going to find where it intersects with C prime, or a complement of C. Now, the complement of C is going to be outside of set C. So if I go to color that in, where does it overlap with my initial answer? It overlaps outside of C, but it's got to stay outside of A and B originally as well. So my final answer is going to be everywhere except for inside any of my circles. Okay? Now the one thing I want you to note here, if we're looking at the two side by side here, in C part we did A union B, and that was the complement, and it was everything outside of, and you don't draw any more on yours here, but it was everything outside of the circles A and B. Okay? When I did this one over here, D part, it was the same thing. It was everything outside of A and B. So what's kind of neat about this notation is that these are actually equal. All right? They're actually equal. And the rule of thumb, general rule, and this will freak a lot of people out, which is kind of funny for me. If I factor out, as soon as I said factor, I can see people go, what? So if I factor out a prime, okay, because both A and B have a prime, they then become A and B, and you switch the symbol from intersection to union, okay? So now I have a whole bunch of people who are really freaking out on me. Okay, you don't have to memorize this, don't have to put this on a cheat sheet. It's just something that's kind of neat that occurs, okay? So there's a couple of examples set for you. I'm going to, if I recall, I'm going to do the last example in the final video just so I'm not rushing to jam it in, and we'll finish up there. But this is going to be the hard part. When you print out the handout, when you're doing the homework, this will be the most challenging, but you're going to find it gets easier and easier. It's like anything else. Once you start practicing it, it starts coming naturally.